So we're gonna walk over to the camera closet, not the dust collector, and we're gonna grab a camera off the shelf. We're gonna go and find a battery that has a green light on it. We're gonna take the rig to a desk and we're gonna find some flat surfaces. Let's go to this one. Put the battery down, latch, open it up. So we got to make sure that we have a Canon R8 camera, and you have one of these mini cables in the case. These are the things that get frequently lost. We're going to use a microphone. We're going to have headphones. We're going to have microphone cable, XLR cable, and a juice link. So make sure all that is in, and I don't know if you noticed, but that fell out on the floor, and that's how they get lost. And now we're just about ready to set our camera up. So the next thing you're going to do is flip the camera over. You're going to open up the battery compartment. And you're going to look for the copper and the copper down there at the bottom. Can you guys see in there? Down at the bottom. It's kind of dark. There it is. So you match those up and you slide in. And you're going to go till this thing clicks over. And then up at the top here we have a SD card slot. So you're going to put an SD card in there. So label facing the back side of the camera, and that just slides all the way up until it clicks, and then it's in. And if you want to take it out, you press it and it'll spring load out towards you. Put it in, close it up. Next thing we're going to do is turn the camera on. So flip the camera on, and we're going to check this first. So we want to shoot video, and we're going to come over here. And aperture priority mode is usually a mode that I'll be shooting, or I'll be in manual mode when I'm shooting video. So then I'm going to take a look. I'll leave it in manual or aperture priority mode. It's telling me set the lens to shooting position. So I'm going to grab the lens cap, and I'm going to turn this ring right here to the left until I get to the 24, and you'll feel a click there. So there's a little bit of a resistance and a click. And now it's showing me what I have going on with my camera. So we have the record time up here, how much recording time you have left. We have over here, notice the screen dimmed out, so that's something that we probably want to mess with. So we might go up into our menus and check things first. I'm going to go over, I think it's under the wrench, power saving, screen dim. Let's go down. I'm using this directional pad to select and move up and down and say OK. Okay, so we disabled that. Screen off, auto power off. Let's set that to off. Disable. Viewfinder off. Set that to disable too. And all right, so now this camera is not going to dim. And then I'm going to go up to my shooting menu. I'm just going left here a bunch. You can get to a lot of this stuff inside of the Q menu. So I'll press the shutter button to jump back out of there. And then we're in this area where, all right, I want to just double check what's going on with the camera. So the fastest way to get set up is go to the Q menu and then double check all the way around this loop here of what's happening. So top one's autofocus. I actually like this one. The whole area works pretty good. And then if you wanted to auto detect subjects, that's the next one down, subject detect, or you can just stick to auto. So we'll try that. Over here is like the audio setup. So you're seeing what the camera is currently getting into the camera through microphone. So there's actually microphone here and here that's picking up audio. So that's what we just saw there. Q menu again. And you can set your level here for your volume for your headphones. On the side here, there's a plug for headphones and microphones. So when we're recording critical stuff, you really never want to use these audio, like the onboard microphones. You always want to use a mic. And we have wireless mics that plug in. That's the fastest way to go. So let me see if I have one of those set up. So this is what that looks like. So this is the Rode mic, and it gets patched from the side over into that little mic jack. And then on the other side of that, there is a pack that looks like this, and it has a little wire that attaches to, I'm currently wearing it. So this is a lavalier mic. It clips on and you can kind of hide it underneath clothing, and it sounds really good. You always want to get a mic as close as you can to the subject, because when it's closer, you can turn it down. When it's further away, you have to turn it up, and you're going to turn up things like air noises, whatever's going on in the room, if there's people talking in a hallway, or people, airplanes flying by, or cars. So you always want to try to get the mic as close as you can, and not crank it up as much as you need, just to get it to the right level on the screen. So the screen is going to show you your levels when you're here under this Q menu again. So I'll kind of set up like this. So we're seeing levels that are coming in here, and if we wanted to not be in an auto mode, I guess it doesn't have it in that menu. So you have to go here, you go down to sound recording instead of auto, manual. And now you have a level select here that you can left or right, or you can just touch the screen to set your levels. And now we're seeing a much lower level coming into the camera on the meters. So you're going to want to check that before you start to record things, and you're going to want to record with one of these either wireless mics, or we have the ability to take a shotgun mic like this and put it on a stand, or have somebody hold it outside of the frame, and then this XLR cable would patch to the juice link that's inside of the box. That's this thing, and that sets up on top of the camera. There's a whole audio video that you'll watch later, and then it patches to the camera from the juice link with this little cable there. Handheld was the other thing that we have inside the box, so you have the ability to kind of take the cable here and connect it to this, and then you can handheld and like hold it if you're talking to people like a reporter. Okay, so that's a little bit of the audio side, but the video side, we double back here. Quick setup for the video, I would go, first thing I'm thinking about is what's my resolution? So I'm gonna go over here. And then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna set that to 4K 2398. That makes it look like film, like cinema. 23 frames per second is how many pictures per second the camera's capturing when we're recording video. When you shoot higher frames per second, like 2997, it looks like video. If you shoot 60 or 5994, it looks very smooth. It's capturing more pictures per second, so there's a better sampling of what's happening in motion. But I usually stick to 2398. I think it looks more cinematic. So we're gonna say okay there. And then I'm gonna look around and just double check things. There's things like down here, if I can touch the screen correctly, image stabilization. So it's currently off if you're on a tripod or on a table right now. You don't need it, but if you touch the image stabilization, turn it on, I'm gonna click here. See how it zooms in a little bit, and if I click one more, it'll zoom even further in on the screen. What's happening is they use kind of like algorithms to see if there's things moving. So basically they're zooming in, and the chip is cropping out the outside pixels, and then you get like a smoother shot when you're moving around, kind of auto. And we're gonna have lots of different rigs for you guys to work with, so that if you want to not shoot handheld and have it be stable without using that, you'll have those options too. So there's that. Moving on this side here, I would say auto white balance we never want in video modes. It'll color correct mid-shot, like while you're recording. If colors change, like somebody wears something, like somebody wearing a different color shirt walks into the frame, we have problems with that. So I'll go to Q mode here, and instead of auto white balance, I would say you can use like sunlight or cloudy or tungsten, which is like the bulbs that have filaments inside of them. But if you're indoors, maybe just fix it in Kelvin. You can set what color you want. So hit the K at the bottom there, and then set color temperature, and then we go over to like 3700. Kind of matches what my eye sees in the studio right now, maybe 3800, something like that. So 3700 Kelvin, that's a color setting. And then these other buttons, as we talked about in the photo side, I don't really use very often. It might be fun to play with some of the effects, the creative filters. It says they're off. Am I able to turn them on in video mode? I don't know if you're noticing, but when I put my finger up here, if you see it lights up inside. So that's like if you were to put your face up against the camera to look through the eyepiece, and there's actually a screen, a digital screen inside there. So, you know, that's a sensor, and it can be kind of annoying sometimes, so just be aware of that. And there is a way to disable it, but, you know, if you're only using this back screen. But so here is the Canon website, and you're going to go to the the wrench menu, screen viewfinder display, and then select your options. And then if you're looking down here, auto options, where if you do look through the viewfinder, it'll automatically turn the screen off, but if you want the screen to always be on, you say always use screen. So at this point you're pretty much ready to shoot. When you have these kinds of lenses that have the autofocus, where you touch on the screen is where it's setting focus. So I can set it to the stand, or I could set it to the stuff all the way in the background there, and then the stand and the table goes out of focus. Let's see if I can get the table in focus. I might not be able to get the table in focus. Oh, there we go. So table's in focus and the background's now out of focus, or if I wanted to touch to the background, and now the table's out of focus and the background is in focus. So that's how you're setting focus, and then when you want to record, you're just going to hit this record button, and now we're rolling. So, you know, that's just the gist of getting the camera set up. There's a lot that goes into, you know, framing and putting things correctly and proportionally, interestingly inside of the frame that we're going to go over in other videos. But that gets you fully set up where I would usually be. So to run it back, we'll stop this recording. I grab the camera, I sign it out, I get a battery in, I check and make sure I'm in video mode, I turn the camera on, I go to aperture priority mode. I double check on the back here, and then I'm looking at my Q menu. I double check and make sure I have autofocus turned on over here. And this is what type of thing you're focusing on, so it's like full auto. And then we did a little audio stuff, Q menu again. Not record, Q menu. Down here we're setting our resolution, and we set it to that 2398. Say okay. And then here we have our image stabilization, which kind of like zooms the screen in a little bit. So you gotta be aware that you're losing some pixels when you do that. We have color settings, so that's over here, the top right. And the other stuff we're not really using. There is some creative stuff, and I'll look into that to update this video later. But that pretty much does it. And then when you're ready to record, you press that red button, or that red button right there will start rolling video. And that'll do it for this one.